If you'd like to just listen to the full 20 tracks, please click the link in the description below. Also, please be aware that this video will be spoiling some of the plot elements of Xenoblade Chronicles because it all relates to why I like certain tracks. Thank you. Hey guys, what is up? My name is Xenoblade and I welcome you to the top 20 Xenoblade Chronicles OST tracks. To be honest, this was a spur of the moment video. In the past I've searched for top 10 videos because I like differing opinions, yet I hadn't really seen videos that give reasons as to why people choose their top 10s and so on. So here it is, because there are so many good tracks for the top 20 Xenoblade Chronicles OST tracks. Now just before I start the video, there are a couple of things I would like to point out. First of all, I can pick any track from any point in the game, so this could be the day and or night theme to an area. Maybe. Second of all, this is my list, not yours. I am very, very sorry if there is a track on here, or track not on here rather, and you love it, and you think it's the best track ever. I'm sorry. Nothing could go on, or it just didn't appeal to me. Again, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, just don't be like, you will die because you didn't put this in. Yeah, please don't kill me. All of the decisions are based on what the music symbolises for me in the game, and just my own enjoyment of the tracks in general, so my reasoning at times may sound repetitive, but hey, let's begin this top 20. Number 20, Impatience. Now this may or may not have thrown some people off at first, due to the fact that as far as I am aware, you only hear this once. Ryan on the run and his demise foretold, this one-off track gives you the determination to think, forget whatever level I'm at, I have to save Ryan from those goddamn spiders. It's a really great track that just instills that sense of urgency that if you don't get there as quickly as you can, it's all over. It really helps make for a truly memorable moment. Number 19, Once We Part Ways. For me, this track is what signifies the true start of Xenoblade Chronicles' plot. With this track in the back of your mind, whilst also you really care about its revenge, the track just symbolises the pain and hope at Fiora's loss and makes you feel determined that you will finish what has been started at Colony 9. It's so special it contrasts the sorrowful points of Fiora's loss against the peak moments of you wanting to avenge her. It's just the perfect start to the journey. Number 18, On the Fallen Arm, Night. Whilst I was debating as to whether to put the morning theme here instead, the night theme just completely won me over as it sets a slightly more sullen mood, especially when you consider where you are. A struggling, isolated corner of the world where the last remaining machiner live out their lives in complete solitude. It just encapsulates the ruined feeling and sense of emptiness the hand of the Mechonis represents, and makes at times what I felt to be a slightly less interesting area that much more enjoyable to explore. Number 17, To the Last Battle. This is it. After spending hours upon hours of grinding, fighting, and having your face gaping open at the complete absurdities of the plot twists you have faced, you are finally ready for the last battle. The track itself is so grand and triumphant. Regardless of what you have faced, there is no way you could possibly fail now. Personally, I really do like how there is the contrast of the grand orchestration and then the lighter, more mellow moments. I feel it just helps contrast the scale of the impending fight between your small party of heroes and a god. Truly epic. Number 16, Tragic Decision, Full. Now this track, while certainly official, is not something you will find on the physical discs themselves. To be honest, I can only imagine it's from within the game itself, and boy am I glad someone dug it up. I really like how in hindsight, when you were facing off against Egil and he was just obliterating you, this track just signifies this sense of no, there is no way. I can't beat him, you just can't. In particular, I have preference on this version, as I would normally fade out at around the 2:30 mark of the track. It just continues to rise, the vocals more intense, and then the collapse back into the beginning of the song, just so much better. Number 15, Tutorial, The Shimmering Marsh. First impressions can be deceptive, and I can tell you for a fact that when I first entered this area, I was really unimpressed and I didn't really pay much attention to this track at all. It was only when I began exploring the ruins that this track's sense of eeriness and intrigue kicked in and made for a perfect fit to its surroundings. Seriously, it's definitely one of the most mysterious tracks on the OST, and I just straight up enjoyed listening to this and exploring the area as much as I could. But it couldn't quite compare to what comes next. Number 14, Tutorial, The Shimmering Marsh, Night. Now, as a side note, the artistic direction and thought that was placed into the marsh at night was a stroke of genius. Night sets in a dull marsh is lit up by an amazing array of ether. How do you match this? Why, putting in a completely opposing rendition of the day theme to make a really calming and just beautiful piece of music. It fits so damn well with its strings and soft vocals to make, in some respects, one of the most beautiful areas even more vibrant and alive, and that's why it tops the day theme. Number 13, Erif Sea. Even though this is one of my favourite tracks, it being one of the more emotionally depressing tracks, I never initially got why it was used as the Dane theme for Erif Sea. I arrive and my thoughts are, I'm going to be reaching a high point in the game, but no, you're introduced to this very solemn theme. If you listen to the evening thing, it's more mellow and peaceful, and so most of the time, I much prefer to listen to that instead. But again, in hindsight, this for me represents a doomed land, the slow pace signifying a whimpering to the end of the high entier, for the lands you walk will soon be a shadow of what they once were. Number 12, Colony 9. Now, looking at the other end of the emotional spectrum, we have one of the most upbeat moments of the game. The track has a lovely pace and just oozes with vibrant sounds and feeling. It's here on the outskirts of Colony 9, you listen to this theme and just think to yourself that nothing could possibly go wrong. Everything's so tranquil and peaceful as you run around, killing minor enemies and getting your first rewards. It's really great how it lures you into that full sense of security. It gives you the first inklings of bewilderment at the world of Xenoblade Chronicles. Although this sense of bewilderment is matched by something far greater. Number 11, You Will Know Our Names. Just missing out on the top 10 is this awesome battle theme. That's right, battle theme. I mean, what more can be said that whenever you encounter one of our special enemies, this absolutely kick-ass song just comes in and gets you pumped. Not only is it super interesting to listen to, it just gets more epic as you continue your battle and makes those encounters that much more awesome. Worst part, it has to end at some point. Number 10, Confrontation with the Enemy. Finally entering the top 10, as with many of the other themes already noted, it makes you feel a sense of hopelessness only to bring you back to the point of feeling success. This theme became a staple track to be used during some of the fantastic high points of the cutscenes and plot. Whenever you hear this theme kick in, you know something's going to happen, whether it be good or bad. In particular, listening to this when facing off against Dixon was truly memorable, as you realise what you have to do to finally surpass him. Very epic and memorable. Number 9. Unfinished Battle. Another track that, as far as I'm aware, appears one time and one time only. This track is so epic that it is my alarm clock. That's right, I wake up to this every morning. No track could have done a better job of reintroducing Dunban into the seemingly hopeless battle against Metalface and his gang of Bronze Faces than this. In particular, I think it's the violins underlying the entirety of the track that I like so much, because I can't think of anything else to say. I love this track because of how good it sounds. Awesomeness wrapped up in a lovely musical package. Number 8. While I Think. This is just simply one of the best emotional tracks in the entire game. I think everyone can agree that one of the most memorable moments and where this music really sticks out in your mind is at the Emperor's death. It was just so emotional. It's really hard to describe it. I mean, when you first saw that vision of him in the future, you probably never really felt much sentiment towards it or any kind of attachment. But then this track just... fantastic. Number 7. Zanza. As the final boss theme to be heard as you fight off against a god, there is something about this theme that I was pleasantly surprised with, and there is a subtlety to it, particularly in the vocal arrangements, that just perfectly fit Zanza's nonchalant mannerisms. Match that with some great guitar riffs underneath and you have the makings of a very memorable boss theme, one burned into my memory with the amount of times I had to fight and fail to defeat him. A grand final track to the end of a fantastic game. Number 6. Mechanical Rhythm. Most of Xenoblade Chronicles' plot been getting you down? Sick of these mech on everything they've taken from you? Then kick back and kick ass with this awesome battle theme, the most awesome in the entire game. When you first heard this track, do not tell me that you were majorly excited and pumped to just try and obliterate everything that was on your screen. It was such a refreshing change of pace and made fighting the same mech just so satisfying, which in a game spanning plus 100 hours was needed, and boy did they deliver. Number 5. Imperial Capital Agniratha, Night. Whilst I have already confessed my liking for so many of the other solemn tracks across the OST, the evening theme for Agniratha is the one that is the most sad and beautiful in terms of what I attach emotionally to it. It's that moment where you finally realise what your home has done to Mechonis and walk out into the dead city of Agniratha, that this even more solemn theme, compared to the daytime theme, contains so much more emotional weight and just adds a completely new perspective on your path for vengeance. I shamelessly admit that it did bring a slight tear to my eye when I stood back and listened to this piece, and because of that it stands out above any other somber themes. Number 4. Snowy Valak Mountain, Night. This track is just so beautiful I can't even describe what it makes me feel. When I first explored Valak Mountain during the day, I honestly felt completely underwhelmed and wasn't majorly impressed. But as soon as this theme entered and the skies cleared and the beautiful ether lights touched the stars, I was just awestruck at the visual and musical experience I was being provided with. It's just so calming and reflects so well the desolateness of the area, and it still stands as one of my favourite tracks in the game. Number 3. Mechonis Field. This track is just a small part of one of the best moments in the game. When I first stepped onto the Mechonis field, I was completely overwhelmed by the size of it all, and potential mysteries and secrets that were to come. Not to mention that you were actually exploring the Mechonis. What I like in particular about the track is how it matches the player's feelings. The start is mysterious, just as the player is plagued with curiosity, and as you come towards the middle, the track changes pace to a more synthy and cool rhythm that matches the player's will to explore. In relation to this, just when I thought you couldn't get more diverse with the music choice, we had this track to mix things up completely. Number 2, Guar playing. It goes without saying that this theme had to be on the list. Quite possibly one of the best area themes from any video game ever. Guar playing was that pinnacle moment where Xenoblade Chronicles truly showed itself to you and the enormity of both the world and what you could achieve as a player. It's such a grand and epic piece that I can even recall standing still when I first set foot on the plains themselves, to just take in the world before me and listen to the music as it complements this world so perfectly. Very few games have been able to incorporate music this well to an area, to make a piece that is just so, well, perfect. Some would argue that this is the best track in the game, which to an extent I would have to agree with, but it just misses out on the number 1 spot. The main theme. This is without a doubt one of my favourite, and certainly whilst playing Xenoblade Chronicles, was my favourite main theme from any video game ever. And I'm a massive Legend of Zelda fan, but nothing beats the experience I had when I first put the disc into my Wii, loaded up the game and had that lovely menu appear with this gorgeous track playing underneath. It's a balance of all the emotions you'll experience in the game, and it's just so tragic and beautiful at the same time. No track could summarise Xenoblade Chronicles more than this, and it is just so brilliantly pieced together and is a joy to listen to again and again and again. When you think about it as well, Xenoblade Chronicles is not a happy-go-lucky game. Even in its moments of positivity, there is always some form of underlying threat or cause to be distressed with, and this theme only helps to remind you of this every time you go back to play the game. Many hours have been spent listening to this theme, and not a single minute of it has been wasted. And that's it, those were my top 20 tracks from the Xenoblade Chronicles OST. It's actually incredibly hard to decide definitive placing since they are all fantastic in their own right. But that's how it goes. Having said that, the list was incredibly fun to make and even introduced me to some tracks that I never even thought of before being considered in my top 20. There were definitely some which I used to think were amazing, but having listened to it the OST properly, I just thought, nope, some of this stuff is so much better. Now, I may or may not do some top 5, 10s, 20s in the future. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. If I do, I'm guessing they'll be more music based. For instance, probably something like The Legend of Zelda, which I love to death, so maybe keep an eye out for that, who knows. If I can be bothered, I'll do it. Not really sure, but with all that said and done, I would like to thank all of you for watching this video. Again, please leave some comments if you want to maybe see more of this, and tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think my list was right anyway? Do you think it was wrong? What would you have put in? I really like to listen, I'd really like to consider this, because who knows, maybe if I'm picky enough I will update this list at some point and I might completely change my mind. But with all that said and done, thank you again for watching this video, and until next time, I will see you guys later.